Springtime is without a doubt the best time of the year to go out there and catch bass.
Got him. Got him. Holy cow, that was so cool.
You know, the weather is getting nicer, usually. Our bodies of water are finally warming up, and for those of y'all up north, thawing out. And all of our ponds and lakes are finally becoming alive again. But with all the different lures out there, how can you give yourself the best chance at catching fish this spring, regardless of if you fish out of a bass boat or fish from the bank? In this video, I'm gonna detail my top 5 different lures for catching bass in the springtime to hopefully give you more confidence on your fishing adventures. My name's Tyler, and let's talk about it. Well, how's it going, folks, and welcome back to Tyler's Reel Fishing. My goal here on this channel is to help you guys become better bass anglers, and so if that's what you want to do, catch more bass and become a better fisherman or fisherwoman, you belong on this channel. Hit that subscribe button. Now, before we hop into this video covering my top 5 lures to help y'all catch more fish this spring, do you want to win an $80,000 bass boat? I thought so. Over the past few years, I've worked with an amazing nonprofit foundation called Bass for Beckers, and what they do is raise money for muscular dystrophy research and to send kids with MD to camp that really tailors to their needs and really makes them feel special during that week. And so it's a foundation that means a whole lot to me. I have known people that have MD in my life, and so I want to raise as much money as possible that we can for this. And so as a part of that, I give away an all expenses paid fishing trip with me. We're going to fly you to Texas. We're going to have the time of our lives catching bass, usually during spawning season, and of course, it's all expenses paid. All that you guys have to do is purchase your raffle tickets at bassforbeckers.com during the month of April. And not only are you entered into winning that trip with me, you're also entered into the year-long giveaway, which is a 2022 Skeeter FXR 21 bass boat, fully loaded, Lowrance electronics, ghost trolling motor power poles. It's an $80,000 plus rig, especially with inflation now. It is a heck of a deal for a $20 raffle ticket. So if you guys feel like supporting an awesome foundation that I support, make sure you guys click that link down in the video description. Like I said, during the month of April is the giveaway trip. The rest of the year is tons of other awesome monthly prizes in that bass boat. So if you're watching this video later and you missed the trip with me, of course, check back in next year, but still feel free to give this year. So whatever springtime means to you, whether it's February in Florida and in South Texas, or it is not until May or June in Minnesota and New York, springtime is what this video is all about. It also applies to every type of angler, no matter your skill level and no matter where you fish. So if you're a pond angler, this video is for you. And if you're a bass boat angler or kayak angler, this video is also for you. But enough talking, I say we hop into our top 5 lures, starting with one of my favorite recent lures when it comes to springtime fishing, and that is this one right here, the Hybrid Hunter. With all these lures, I'm going to quickly cover the who, what, when, where, and why, and the how, of course, is going to be described in each individual instructional that I've made over these lures. So when I discuss all of these lures right here, I will have individual instruction videos, I think for all of these, that I will have linked in the video description. That way you guys can kind of understand the topics, and then if you want to go deeper into learning more about them, I have videos about all that. But when it comes to lure number 1, the Hybrid Hunter, why is this my only reaction bait in my top 5 spring lures? In my opinion, it might just be recency bias for me and the success that I've had on it, but I think this lure, for the majority of situations, beats a spinnerbait. I think it beats a vibrating jig. I think it beats any kind of swim bait. There's select situations with, trees, like kind of twiggy type bushes, reeds and cattails, and kind of slimy grass in some ponds, that the Hybrid Hunter is actually at a disadvantage. But for those of y'all who fish around rocks, sand, clay, gravel, open water, and especially shallow vegetation like hydrilla, milfoil, coontail, any other kind of shallow underwater grass, the Hybrid Hunter is the best moving lure. And when we're talking about spring fishing, 2 out of the 3 spring seasons have the bass moving and feeding a lot, the pre-spawn and the post-spawn. And I guarantee this lure, with how loud that rattle is, can actually pull some bass off their beds if reeled slow enough and in shallow enough water, so you can catch fish in all 3 stages of the spring on this lure right here. It is a shallow diving crankbait that just has a completely different action than any other crankbait I've ever used, and it has been a pleasure to throw. If you've been missing out, I have caught a bunch of 4+ pounders on this thing. I caught 2 6-pounders, a 7-pounder, and a 10-pounder. All this spring alone on the Hybrid Hunter. I can't wait to throw it all around the country as I keep traveling to make these videos for you guys. This lure is going to be the only moving bait, or primarily moving bait, like that's the purpose of this thing, that's how you work it, in this entire top 5 list. And I really think for the majority of you guys, unless you're in the categories I mentioned where a spinnerbait probably excels, or a vibrating jig over this thing, if you can throw a treble hooked lure, this is the one for you. So moving on to lure number 2, with some of these slow moving lures, we're gonna have the creature bait. Now, why do I select the creature bait as the first soft plastic for the springtime? Well, in my experience, the creature bait is the best one to fish really slow. And especially at certain times, whether you have a cold front come through, or you have fish that have moved so shallow, they have started to spawn, they don't really want to chase a whole lot of moving lures. Like I said, you could get them to come across their bed and hit a moving lure, but for the most part, those spawning bass do not want anything to do with a fast moving lure. And so you have to throw something slower, and usually something with a lot more appendages that really gets their attention and triggers them into biting. Not triggers in the same way that a reaction bait triggers a strike, or flipping a heavy jig or a heavy punching bait into a mat and banging it up and down. That's a different kind of triggering. This is a triggering more like the fish needs something that they can kind of key in on, and really pushes them over that ledge of, I don't want to eat, that looks delicious, I'll eat that. So whether you are throwing the creature bait on a light Carolina rig, a Texas rig, or on the back of a jig, as we're going to talk about here in a second with one of the next lure categories, I think the creature bait, both the Strike King Space Monkey and the Strike King Game Hog, are the 2 best creature baits. Like I said, for both flipping, pitching, and dragging, especially around rock bottoms. Once the water in your pond or your lake gets to 61 degrees or so, maybe a little bit colder or warmer depending on where you live, that is when bass are going to spawn in those areas, and there is no more fun way to catch them that time of the year. I know, because I'm doing it right now as we speak and catching absolute giants, as you're going to see in the next few videos, dragging these exact lures right here extra slow. If you haven't given dragging slow a chance during the springtime, you need to, because especially if you're in an area where the bass are, by understanding the seasons and not fishing blind, as we talked about in the last video, which of course I'll leave that linked in the video description. Pretty crucial video actually to watch before this one. These lures are going to help tremendously if you know where the bass are. So that's lure category number 2. Lure category number 3 is a staple. It works all year round, but especially during the springtime, and that is the soft plastic stick bait. The stick bait can fill a very similar category and a very similar location as the creature baits, but of course, a stick bait has 0 appendages at all. It's just one little floppy stick, and so as it falls wacky rig, it does have a little bit of a shimmy, but Texas rig doesn't really have a whole lot of shimmy at all, and so this works really well for fish that are sitting on more vertical cover. So the posts of docks, or you're flipping a stump or a lay down tree or something like that in deeper water. Usually that is where I pick up this 6-inch Ocho. I have caught a ton of fish in the 1 to 2 pound class, even below that. On the 6-inch Ocho, I don't really feel the need, whether you're throwing an Ocho, Yamamoto Senko, a Yum Dinger, whatever stick bait you're throwing, I think a 6-inch version is better than a 5 in most scenarios, especially in the spring when those bass are willing to stick something big in their mouth, when at other times of the year, especially winter time, they're a little more finicky, fall, they might want to chase really fast to hit something. I think the 6-inch Ocho is the best one for this time of the year. And so not a whole lot to talk about, but I do have a video talking about my top 5 ways I use the Strike King Ocho. I will have that linked in the video description for you all to check out. Now the last bottom contact lure that we have, and lure number 4 in our list, that especially gets big bites in the spring, is going to be a jig. The jig is a fantastic lure because it emits a big presence in the water. Whether it is an Outcast Tackle juice jig, right here I think we have a 5/8 or a 3/4 ounce one, put a creature bait or a Strike King rodent on the back of this thing, a rage craw, and you have a bigger presentation. I can tell you guys, by bed fishing the past few years, really my entire life, but especially the past few weeks here in Texas, I have caught most of my fish on a jig type lure, and that is because of the bigger presence it has. It definitely gives fish something bigger, more imitating, that especially if they're spawning, they need to get out of their nest. It's in the way. They're afraid it's going to eat their babies, their future generations, their spawn, and so they gotta get it out of there, they gotta eat it, and the jig is an amazing way to catch fish. Now, I throw both a vertical line type jig around grass and more sparse types of cover. I love the juice jig for that. It is a more average, angler consumer price jig, and I love the colors, especially this one right here, which I believe is Upshaw Craw, and then we have this one here, which is peanut butter and jelly. I love the PB&J jig, but if you're flipping around wood or really heavy cover around docks, dock posts, I love the Cage Fighter. And really, no matter the water clarity, I love the black and blue 3/8 ounce Cage Fighter with a little black and blue Rage. What is this? This is the Rage, Baby Rage Menace. I just love flipping this jig around, and like I said, it gets bigger bites. So if you're struggling catching small fish on the creature baits and your stick baits, oops, I caught the hybrid hunter, give the jig a try because it is a big fish catcher. Now we're moving on to one last lure in this spring top 5, and that is a topwater. You're probably wondering, Tyler, when can I throw topwater in the spring? As soon as those bass get started spawning, you can throw my favorite topwater, which is a topwater popping frog. You can really throw any slower moving topwater, and both a regular frog and a popping frog both fit into that category, but you don't want to throw a buzzbait. You don't want to throw a walking bait. You don't want to throw a plopper. Can you catch them on that? Yes, you can. But for the most part, like I said, with the reaction baits like the hybrid hunter, a bass that is spawning, that is really focused on that spawning phase, doesn't want to have to chase a whole lot, but oftentimes they can't stand lures both on their bed or over top. And so around shallow cover, anything less than 4 to 5 feet of water, especially shallow grass, lily pads, that kind of thing, you can catch them on a topwater popping frog, usually in some kind of sunfish or bluegill color. You can catch them on whatever color you want, but that's the one that I have the most success with, and I will link this exact frog in the color I prefer down in the video description below. So that is our top 5 lures for springtime bass fishing. Make sure y'all check out the Bass for Beckers Foundation. I will have that linked as a pinned comment and in the video description. Help us raise as much money as possible. That would mean a whole lot to me and the foundation. But I say we go on the water and check out some of those awesome fish catches that I teased at the beginning of this video.
Gosh. Got the power pull down. Put this anchor in there. Got him. There we go. That's how you do it, folks. You get a bite on a frog, you stop the boat, you flip right back where you were, and you catch him on the Ocho. That right there, folks, is what the spring is all about. Beautiful, chunky, stinking bass. Gonna get an Instagram selfie and let this one go. See ya, homie. Oh, what fun. Oh, there's one on the frog. There's one on the frog. From a long ways away. Yes, sir. Bring him stinking in here. Bring it up. Let's go. That's a fat one right there. That's an absolute fat bass. It's a male. It's peeing. Probably was on a bed that I might not have caught if I was extra close. But that right there is just a specimen of a fish. Absolutely gorgeous. Thank you, friend. That fish went almost 2.5 pounds and it was like 14 inches. Gosh, holy cow. Oh my gosh. That's a big one. That's a big one. That's a big one. That's a stinking big one. Ho, ho, ho. As I was looking away and all I heard was a splash, looked back and my lure was gone. The froggy fresh was gone. Everybody, bring it in. Yes, sir. Let's go, baby. Don't count out the frog, folks. The frog can get it done too. As soon as that water hits 62, 63, that's when I really start picking up the frog again. And that one is probably sitting up on a bed, bloody tail. Beautiful, beautiful springtime bass. What a day. Let's go. Got him. Holy cow, that was so cool. I watched him come eat it. Oh my gosh, that was awesome. That was so cool. I didn't know if it was a stick that I was flipping at or a fish, and I missed my flip, but the fish did a little 180 and came and got it. That was cool. Let's go. There's one. Get out of there. Get out of there and get in here. Yes. Beautiful. Little male. Little squirt. They are so hard to MLF hold because of how thick they are. I mean, like, that's such a healthy fish. Gee, this lake is cool. Beautiful. On the old Ocho. Low and slow gets the job done in the spring, folks. Got him. Yes. Oh my gosh. Holy cow, biggin', biggin'. Get around the trolling motor. Get around the dang trolling motor, thank you. Oh, power pull down. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Let's go, sick. Stinking 6-pounder, baby. Oh, it wasn't hooked by much, so I'm glad I kept the tension up. Beautiful springtime bass. I saw that fish, or what I thought was the male, cruising around, and I flipped in that area, and then all of a sudden it was like a big swirl under the water, and I guess this fish was sitting right there. Let's go. Thank you, big beautiful girl. Go back to doing your thing. You all right there? There you go. There he is. Got him. Awesome, awesome. So stinking cool. Jeepers, man. Oh, that's awesome. He followed the frog once again. The 1-2 punch. Frog shows you where they are. You let them swim back to their bed, and the Ocho gets them. Let's go! Uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. Got him, biggin', 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 biggin'. Holy cow, holy cow. Stay out of that tree, stay out of that tree, stay out of that tree, and that tree as well. Stay out of all the trees, please. Stay out of all the trees, please. And bring it around. We're gonna use the net because you are big and my line, I think, was frayed. 20-pound Seagar and Vizex, folks. The only line I trust for this style of fishing right here. The only one. Bring him up in here, bring him up in here. Let's go. Let's stinking go, baby. That right there, boys and girls. What I'm talking about. Oh, top of the mouth with the Strike King Ocho. Beautiful stinking fish right there. There's one. There's one. That's a big one. That's a nice one. That's a nice one. Oh my gosh. And he's all out of energy. Let's get him in. Boom, boom, boom. That thing, Senko, Ocho, gets him so good. They slurp it up so easily. I've filmed underwater footage for years. I know how easily they slurp up a soft plastic worm. And this one is just the most unassuming, but for some reason, it works the best. There's one. Yes. There's one. Oh, you're beautiful. Oh, you're beautiful. You're so beautiful. And I love you. Don't tell my wife. These fish are a bunch of balls of joy. They make me so happy. Love it. There's more to catch back here, I'm telling you. Got him. Beautiful. Beautiful. Yes. Oh, don't want a fish landing violation. I don't know how they do it with like 5-pounders. Love it. Do you love it? Subscribe if you're not yet. Got him. Oh, it was awesome. Oh, that was so stinking cool. Go, no, 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 no. Where are you going? Holy cow. My gosh. Oh, these fish are insane. Absolutely nuts. This fish is like 3.5 pounds. Bring it up in here. Yes. You almost got the best of me. Maybe you go 4 pounds. I mean, that's pretty dang heavy. Nom, 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 nom. I got him. I got him. I got him. Yes. Oh, baby. Had to come back to this guy like 3 times. Well, that, folks, is going to do it for today. Oh, my gosh. That is going to do it for today's video. I hope that you guys enjoyed. I know I sure as heck enjoyed. Wow. Catching fish like this for you guys. So many 3 to 4 pounders.
This one will go 4, just over 4. Well, thank you all so much for watching. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, hit that subscribe button. And if you want to watch a previous video where I talked about my #1 tip for spring fishing having to do with where the fish are, click up here in this corner. Y'all can watch that. My name's Tyler. We'll see you guys next time right here on TRF.